The renowned satirical program on Kazakh television called Tamasha is being artistically reproduced. On the Jibek Joly TV channel's orders, this TV show is currently being filmed in Almaty. Perhaps the most challenging aspect is the shooting of the concert portion, which includes the audience in the hall as well as musical and satirical performances on stage. The film crew has a great deal of responsibility since they have to capture the spirit of that era and the essence of the Tamasha show. Kazakh viewers have high expectations for the TV series, since, well, everyone remembers Tamasha.
Tamasha, все этот театр очень хорошо знают.
Everyone knows the Tamasha show very well. As for me, I used to watch it as a child with my parents. And indeed, some performances were so captivating, we couldn't help but memorize and share them with others. Occasionally, we would even perform snippets of the show in our own mini theater at home, creating an improvisational stage in the living room. This is an entire era. Those people are masters of their craft, and if I may be bold, legends. Currently, we're doing our best to give justice to the show and convey its atmosphere as close to the original as possible. Despite that, the audience will likely say that the original show was cooler. That's why we're making a movie about it, to celebrate the Tamasha theater. I sincerely hope that after the series premieres, I will be proud by the result.
Очень сильно боюсь, наверное.
Compared to the rest of the team, the director of the series had to sacrifice a little more in the name of art. Just one day before the first action command, Nurgisa broke his leg. However, it seems that he had already been so engrossed in the project that he was unwilling to stop. And indeed, the preparation for the shoot was very thorough. The crew spent many months meticulously gathering materials for their special movie, bit by bit.
Как только мы бросили клич, да, вот всем ныне живущим.
As soon as we reached out to all the living actors of Tamasha theater crew, as well as to the children, grandchildren, and families of those actors who have unfortunately passed away, everyone responded instantly. Aliya Yesenova, the daughter of Lukpan Yesenov, one of the Tamasha theater founders, provided us with valuable advice. We also received assistance from Tamasha theater artist Danagul Sultanova. Other artists also greatly helped us with their priceless advice. Gulboshan Tleubekova, Tungushpai Mankulov, the families of Toksin Kulibekov, Meyram Nurikeyev, and Wise Sultangazin. Lydia Kadanova, another actress from Tamasha Theater, greatly assisted us in the creation of the series, as did Rosa Rimbaeva. Overall, everyone played an important part in this process. And as we know, all the prominent Kazakh actors once started their careers on the stage of Tamasha. It was important to receive their input and advice, and they were very happy to help us.
Все с радостью нам помогали.
И мы из уст прям брали истории.
They all shared stories that actually took place behind the scenes, on stage and during tours. And we tried to somehow incorporate them into our fictional narrative in order to enrich it with interesting, true stories.
И этим немного насытить.
The series creators immediately refused to make the story 100% true. It would have been impossible to achieve this for a number of reasons. The script writers focused on the people themselves, the cast of the Tamasha theater, the relationships and atmosphere that surrounded the creative team.
Тамаша — это семья, потому что так сложилось, что
Tamasha is a family. For a very long time, Lukpan Yesenov, one of the founders of Tamasha Theater, served as a father to everyone. He really was like a big father to the actors of Tamasha, and they also referred to him as one. We do, in fact, have this concept that perhaps our viewer will grasp as we depict the history of a family. And like in any other big family, there is a father, older brothers, middle children, rowdy little ones, hooligans, and of course an older sister who tries to keep them all in line and sort of pushes everyone in the same direction.
И как бы всех подгоняет в одно русло.
Следующая задача – это
I think another important task for us is to demonstrate devotion for art and creativity that these people have. When they have a great love for art, they will stop at nothing, and they will not betray their profession for anything. And our task is to try to convey this to the audience in the best way possible.
это как-то постараться показать, донести до зрителя.
The director's reflections on the betrayal of the profession are explained by the fact that the action of the movie takes place during one particular period, the early 90s of the last century. This moment is the line that separates us from the Soviet past. Many people found it painful to cross this line, including the representatives of creative professions, and it was perhaps even more difficult for them. To put it briefly, the TV narrative about the iconic satirical theater will be somewhat dramatic. It's unexpected and interesting.
А еще глобальная задача такая.
Another important task for us was recreation of the atmosphere of 1991. We needed to show how the Palace of the Republic looked like at that time, since the historical cultural place was like a second home for Tamasha Theater. All Tamasha concerts in Almaty took place exclusively in the Palace of the Republic. Today the building is already modernized, a lot has changed, but some parts of it still contain the spirit of those times. Recreating the atmosphere of the 90s turned out to be one of the most challenging things.
Создать атмосферу тех лет.
There was another particularly important and therefore difficult task: the selection of actors. The casting was announced on a national scale.
Для нас было главное – это
The main thing for us was the portrait resemblance of the actors we choose to the characters. And I really hope that the task is accomplished. Luckily, we have now assembled a cast of actors who hopefully will make this series a success with their talent and acting skills. Our main task was to match the real Tamasha actors in terms of energy, humor, and portrait resemblance. But it was also important to keep in mind that the series action takes place in the 90s. Therefore, another criterion upon choosing the cast was to make sure that their age matched the real age of Tamasha actors in 1991. And in fact, it was one of the challenging but at the same time interesting tasks. Casting took place throughout the country, and we have considered actors from regional, provincial, and district theaters. As a result, we have selected amazing talents from various regions, such as Zhambil and Aktobe, as well as from the big cities like Astana and Almaty. They are all unique and gifted.
Алматы, как бы актеры, крутые актеры из разных мастей.
My name is Asem. I will play the role of Roza Rymbayeva in the Tamasha series. Regarding the casting process, first of all, I sent my photo. Then there was another stage, a video casting. That is, a video of me playing a scene. After evaluating it, they selected me for the part. There was no limit to my happiness, because for me, it's a great honor and tremendous joy to be able to play Roza Rymbayeva. She's a wonderful and charismatic person, talented singer, as well as Kazakhstan's honored artist.
The character I portray is Wais Sultangazin. I guess the director noticed a similarity in our appearance, and we're also of the same height with Mr. Sultangazin. But I'm not sure whether I possess the same level of charisma and energy as this brilliant actor that I'm portraying. The shooting has just started, and there is a lot of work on, so we will see how it ends up. We will do our best to follow the director's instructions. Mr. Sultan Gazin is a very talented person, a prominent figure in Kazakh drama theater world. And everybody knows that. I'm honored to portray him. And it's great to learn all those interesting stories about him from his theater colleagues. I heard that many actors were considered for this role. I think this was important to make sure that they find the most suitable person for the job. This is a big responsibility and honor to portray such a great actor. I thought to myself how wonderful it would be if they chose me. I would be so happy to have a chance to portray Mr. Sultanbayev. The casting had several stages. During the first stage, when I was invited, I made sure to stick to his portrait, conveying his voice and movements. At the next stage, the director wanted to see me in a costume to get a whole picture. I put on different outfits and tried to recreate Mr. Sultanbayev's style. Then, a few days later, they called and informed me that I got the part. On the one hand, I was extremely happy, but on the other, it was hard to believe, and I was so nervous.
деген сияқты сондай болды.
Mr. Sultanbayev is a man of great character, a prominent figure in the world of acting. We all have watched his performances as children, and we are familiar with the roles he played. It was interesting to witness his creative path. Sadly, he passed away in 2010, but he made a lasting impression on all of us. I've always been fascinated to watch interviews with him because the way he narrated his stories was something special, and it opened up the best qualities of his character. While preparing for the role, I was looking through some archive footage about him, his roles and interviews. It was very helpful and nostalgic. I've even had a chance to talk to Mr. Sultanbayev's son, Yurkebulan. He's a bit older than me. When I told him I was going to portray his father, he was very glad. It appears he knows me and some of my work. The brotherly advice he gave me regarding my role is very valuable, and I'm thankful for his assistance. He expressed his warm wishes and gave me his blessing to embark on this wonderful artistic journey.
Ал енді ешкім айтпайсың. Әйелдер қызғаншақ болады. Еркектер бөтен әйелдермен сыбайлас болған жек көрмейді. Сондай бір бөтен әйелмен келе жатқан кезде алдыңнан өзіңдікі шыға келсе не істейсің? Ал өзі саспау керек, түк саспау керек, билеу керек. Ал сіздің іздеген көшеңіз оң жақ бұрыштағы 4 қабатты үйде. Шығарып салу керек. Әйел сұм болады. Сенің басыңа қатер төнген білет рахмет айтып жөніне кетеді.
The first episode of Tamasha was released around the close of 1978. At that time, there were only 2 satirical shows on the Central Soviet television, while on Kazakh television, there were no such programs at all. Therefore, the popularity of Tamasha was instant, real, and sustained over the course of exactly 3 decades on air.
Tamasha Theater is the very first comedy and satire theater in Kazakhstan, which began as a television project and then continued its activities as an independent theater. They had tours around the entire country and visited all the regions, even those distant ones, which the majority of Kazakh citizens themselves did not see at that time. They traveled to the USSR countries. They performed abroad and even staged concerts in China. I know the story that in 1991 they organized a big concert in the city of Omsk and gathered a huge stadium. Can you imagine that? A comedy theater gathers a large stadium in a foreign city.
Every member of the Tamasha TV series crew gives the project everything they have. It seems like there is even more responsibility now that the well-known Tamasha returns to the screens in a new form and from a different perspective. It will be available very soon on the Jibek Joly TV channel.